how did you meet Billy Idol? Didn't you meet him on that movie that you just mentioned?
I met Billy Idol on the set of The Wedding Singer.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the scene that I was in. And it's so crazy because I had such a crush on him in the 80s when I was like 9.
Oh my gosh.
I was like 9 years old and I had this big Billy Idol pin that I would like wear in my jean jacket. I thought he was so cool. So when I met him when I was like 19, he was a lot older then, but I was still like, oh my God, Billy Idol. I was so like starstruck. It was so stupid. But he was really nice. We ended up dating for like 3 or 4 months. It's kind of funny.
Amazing. So do you have any good memories of him or things you want to share about him that we wouldn't know?
I mean, it was, it was just really funny. I just remember being on set of The Wedding Singer, and I was so nervous because of him. I had one line. I had that one line, the line of, this creeping coach thinks he's Don Johnson. And it was the last shot of the night. It was like 11 o'clock at night. Everyone had been working all day. Everyone wanted to go home. And, Billy was just sitting there just waiting for me to spit this line out. And I couldn't get the line out. Like, I couldn't say it right. Like, I was like, this guy thinks I'm top choice, grade meat. And it took me like 15, 20 takes to do it.
Oh, no.
And I had one line. And to this day, I went home and I cried. And I remember the next day I had to go back to set and Adam made like this song and he would call me 16 Take Shayna. He makes those goofy little songs up and, he made light of it and stuff. But for me, it was the most like, I was so embarrassed but they all made me feel really good the next day. And Billy was really cool about it.
Right.
So.
Obviously. Well, he wasn't bothered by it.
I still get to go on a date with him. So
that's right. He obviously, you got his attention, I guess.
Yeah.
So after that is when you met Oscar De La Hoya, correct?
Yes, correct. Yes.
So tell us about that. First of all, how'd you meet him?
Gosh, I met Oscar, we used to run around Hollywood and go to the nightclubs. And after we would all go to this place called Cantor's, this like Jewish deli that we would all, but I would always, one of my best friends worked security. And so we would all like run around to the different clubs and we would go meet our friend who was doing security at this club. And one time the club was still going. We were early. And I remember this guy walked by and had like this big crowd around him and my friend and this other security guard came up and they were like, do you know who that is? Do you know who that is? And they were like, that's Oscar De La Hoya. And I was like, oh, cool. Is that like the fighter guy? Like, I didn't really know. I just thought he was like cute. I was like, oh yeah, he's like, I've heard about him. He's like the one all the women like love. He's like really cute. And they're like, do you want to meet him? And I was like, sure, I'll go meet him. And they brought me over to him and we just like locked eyes and had a drink and that was it. We
Instant
were like
chemistry.
inseparable. Yeah. We danced like all night and then he invited me up to Big Bear where he was training for his fight. We flew private to this like, to a heavyweight champion fight in Vegas. And it was just really, really fun.
So what was that like going to his fights?
Gosh, I'll be honest. I don't like watching the men I love fight.
Yeah.
Like, at all. It was the most nerve-wracking thing to watch him fight. I knew he was prepared. I knew he was very talented. I knew he was, going to be just fine. But, it's a lot of hard work and sacrifice. You can't have sex with them for like the whole time they're training.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't let you have sex with them while they're training. At least his camp didn't. I remember his father being like, it's important that, he's focused and you cannot have sex with him. And I'd be like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so crazy. So
you couldn't be a distraction, probably.
I definitely could not be a distraction. But, they were up in Big Bear. They were there for months at a time. He was up from 5 a.m. training, diet, nutrition, sparring. So, it was tough. But, when he would win, it was such a fantastic celebration, but, it was so much accumulating to that actual fight. So it was very nerve-wracking. And just watching someone you love get punched in the face is never, a good feeling.
Right. I would have felt like Adrian and Rocky. It would have been so exciting. Yeah. I love those movies. Yeah. So how long did you guys end up dating?
We were together for 3 years. We got engaged about 6 months into our relationship. I also became pregnant with our gorgeous daughter, who just turned 24.
Congratulations.
I can't even take it. Yeah, she just turned 24. She's a spitting image of him. She's so absolutely beautiful. Wow. And we were together for about 3 years. Yeah.
So I read how you guys broke up, which seems a little bit crazy. Is that true? Tell us what actually happened.
It was true. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I actually just did. He's actually doing an HBO documentary right now that's going to be coming out in September. And I get really in depth. I was actually surprised that they really wanted me to talk about it to the extent that they did. But they said, nope, this isn't a fluff piece. This is, we're really going to share with the public, the nitty and the gritty. So I was like, okay, well, here you go. Mm-hmm. But, we were together and, I didn't think we were having too many problems, but we were having normal. I think, we just had a baby, new parent kind of problems, things like that. And he was traveling a lot and he was, in training a lot as well. So I didn't think things were too bad, but we were, he said, I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to go do David Letterman. When I come back, let's just start fresh. And, we'll just, he's like, go buy some art, go get some things for the house and we'll just start fresh. I love you. And I was like, okay. So that's what I did that weekend. I went shopping. I got some things for the house. I was taking care of the baby. She was about 1.5. And when he came back, I didn't hear from him. And I remember that night, it was like a Monday or Tuesday night and the Latin Grammys were on. And I was at home with my girlfriend and my mom and we were watching the Latin Grammys. And all of a sudden they said, next up on the red carpet is Oscar De La Hoya. And I was like, what do you mean? And it was in LA. And I was like, he's supposed to be in New York doing Letterman. Like, why is he in LA at the Latin Grammys? Why am I not with him at the Latin Grammys? I'm so confused right now. It was very strange. So we were all kind of like waiting for this commercial to come back. And it was like the longest, 60 seconds of my life. And then there he was with his ex-wife, Millie. But at the time he was just on the red carpet with another woman holding hands. And I just remember, like in Kill Bill when that like, mm-hmm. that like, I just remember like not hearing anything and just like my heart just breaking and I was humiliated and I just was like, what the hell is happening? And he was holding her hand and like walking like they were a couple and I just was at home and our baby was in her nursery in the other room and I just lost sense of reality for a good couple minutes there. And I remember just crying and my mom and my girlfriend consoling me and being like, obviously I tried to call him. No one was answering. And the next day they just had an attorney come to the house and ask if the baby and I would go to a hotel. And I said, absolutely not. This is our home. Like things have to be like taught. Like I need to talk to someone. Like I need help here,
Wow.
So it was, and I was only like 25 years old. Yeah. I mean, I look back now and I thought I was this grown up, now that I'm 48 and I look back, I'm like, it was just a baby, it was just a baby. You had a baby. And, it was actually like a pretty scary time, but I got through it.
You did get through it. And that was a woman he ended up marrying later. Is that what you said?
He did. Yeah. He ended up marrying her and he was with her for about, I think like 10 years. Yeah. They have 3 children together.
Oh, they do. Okay. So it didn't end up being a one night stand per se. So that should make you feel a little better.
A one night stand, but I mean, it's like, hey, I get you fall out of love with people. I get things change. Like, at least give me I still feel to this day, and I even said this in the documentary. I mean, you can let someone go with dignity and honesty. That was just like really, really humiliating.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. So how did your life end up being with him and co-parenting? Do you guys get along now? Do you talk now?
We did not co-parent at all. He just left. He told me that if I went and sued for palimony but if I sued for palimony, he wouldn't see my daughter and I till she was 16 years old, which I thought was just an idle threat. I was like, how would you not see who would do that? But he did. He didn't see his daughter and I till she was about 16 years old. Oh, wow. He was financially very supportive, which, I'm very grateful for. I'm very thankful that I had that support so that I could raise her the best to my ability as a single mom, basically. And then when he did kind of come back, he was really good there for a little while, and we actually were co-parenting, and we did have some talks. He did apologize to me about how things were handled, but it was a very long time to wait for an apology, and it was a very I look back, I can't change anything about it. I feel like I did the best that I could as a mom to give my daughter everything that she, that I could possibly do on my own without his presence. I tried to surround her with positive male role models. I would even ask the schools, put her in a class with a male teacher. I want her to have strong male role models. I did everything I could. We were getting along pretty good, but I guess he has a new girlfriend now, and we don't speak anymore, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I understand.
100% okay with it.
And what about his relationship with his daughter, your daughter? Are they now in touch?
They were working. They were doing really good. They were having a pretty great relationship, but I really don't know where it stands right now.
Yeah.
I think since he's entered a new relationship, I think, he's just one of those guys that shifts when he's with a certain kind of woman. Some guys are like that. Some guys, women do it too, I guess.
Yes.
Sometimes when people get into new relationships, they just, they go MIA, they go.
Everybody else doesn't matter, and their whole life revolves around that person.
People just do that sometimes. And so, just time changes things.
Okay. So in between, so it sounds like you got a lot of financial support. You didn't necessarily have to run and go get a job.
I definitely did not have to struggle, and I got to really give my daughter a great education. I got to give, my daughter a very comfortable life and for that, I'm truly, truly thankful for that.